The data core was marked for permanent deletion, but when Archive Clerk Kaelen scanned it, a ghostly figure in ancient regalia appeared and said, "My child, you are not a citizen of the Empire. You are its heir, and they have made you forget your throne." Kaelen stumbles back, his scanner clattering to the polished archive floor. The air in Sublevel 9 hums with the deep, subsonic thrum of the Xylos Empire's central memory. It is a sound of absolute order. The ghostly man flickers, a projection of light and dust motes, wearing a crown of unfamiliar design. His eyes hold a sorrow so vast it feels like a physical weight in the sterile air. Kaelen is a nobody, a curator of dead data in a galaxy that has forgotten its own birth. His entire life is a testament to his species' modest, integrated place. Humanity is just another member race, peaceful, unremarkable. This is a heresy that could get him mind-wiped, but the figure called him heir. The projection stabilizes, its voice a dry whisper that seems to come from the walls themselves. You catalogue the lies, Kaelen of the Terran Protectorate. You dust the tombs of your own kings. The figure gestures and a stream of corrupted data erupts from the core, painting the air with schematics of dreadnoughts and city planets. The architectural sigils are imperial, but the design language is undeniably, unsettlingly human. This empire is your inheritance. You built its pillars. You forged its laws, and then you were edited from the story. Kaelen's heart hammers against his ribs. This is a trap, it has to be. Imperial Security plants corrupted data to test loyalty, but the core's identifier glows a soft, persistent amber in his palm. Terra Prime, a designation that doesn't exist in any sanctioned record. "Who are you?" he breathes, his voice swallowed by the archive's hum. "I am the echo of the last emperor, a memory trapped in a dying stone." The figure's form wavers, showing glimpses of a magnificent throne room now overgrown with crystalline decay. 1,000 years ago, your ancestors ruled from a world called Earth. It was the heart, then it became a wound, and the galaxy chose to bandage it with forgetting. The central mystery coils in Kaelen's gut. What did we do? What was so terrible that the solution was to erase an entire homeworld from history? Not just conquer it, not just defeat it, but to unwrite it. His curiosity, a lifelong companion in these silent stacks, sharpens into a blade of fear. This isn't just forbidden knowledge. This is a foundational crack in reality. A proximity alert pings softly on his wrist terminal. A security sweep. Sublevel 9 is due for inspection in 7 minutes. Commander Vex's authorization code flashes, a man known for his thorough, merciless audits. Kaelen should report the anomaly. He should seal the core and run the contamination protocol. That is what a loyal citizen does. The Echo sees his hesitation. "They will delete me, and you will be re-educated for seeing what you have seen. The truth dies with us again, or you can ask the question your blood already knows. Why is Earth forbidden?" Kaelen's hand trembles over the core's extraction port. To take it is treason. To leave it is to surrender a piece of his own soul to the incinerator. The alert pings again. 6 minutes. He thinks of a lifetime of bland acceptance, of the quiet shame that sometimes stirs in him when his people are called latecomers to the galactic stage. He thinks of the Echo's eyes, holding a history of empires. He makes a choice. His fingers fly across the terminal, forging a transfer log for a routine data degradation study. He pockets the warm, pulsating core of Terra Prime, its light bleeding through his tunic like a guilty star. The Echo winks out, but a faint, whispering presence remains in his earpiece, a static-laden sigh. "Good. Now run, the shepherds are coming for the lost wolf." Kaelen moves, his soft-soled boots silent on the floor. He reaches the sector lift just as the main vault door hisses open behind him. He doesn't look back. He feels the weight of the core and the heavier weight of the question. What did we do? The lift doors close, sealing him in temporary silence. The whisper in his earpiece returns, faint and grim. "The peace you cherish, the unity of the Empire. It was not one Kaelen, it was woven, and the loom was on Earth. I will show you the first thread, a colony world named Viridia, the first to experience the Great Pacification." The lift ascends, but Kaelen feels like he's falling. The Echo's next words are not a history lesson. They are a confession. "We did not fight them, we did not conquer them. We made them, happy to obey, we called it mercy." The lift doors open to the main concourse, a river of beings from 100 species moving in calm, orderly streams. The whisper in Kaelen's ear is a ghost in the machine, guiding him through the archive's bustling main concourse. The Terra Prime core is a furnace against his ribs. Every uniformed guard is a potential end. The Echo's words echo. "We made them happy to obey." He ducks into a sanitized public data terminal alcove, his fingers trembling as he inputs the access codes the Echo murmurs. The screen flickers, then displays a standard historical entry for Viridia, a core world known for its serene agricultural output and famously placid population. "Nothing here," Kaelen whispers. "Look deeper," the Echo insists, its voice fraying at the edges. "Layer 7, Medical Archive, Pre-Pacification." Kaelen bypasses 3 security protocols he shouldn't know, his heart a drum solo. The file loads. It's not a history. It's a casualty report. Video logs from 1,000 years ago show Viridians, not the calm, green-skinned beings of today, but a fierce, passionate people with fiery markings on their skin, rioting in streets, their faces contorted with revolutionary fury. They were rebelling against imperial taxes. Then the log date stamps skip forward. The next entry shows the same streets, silent. The Viridians move with a gentle, smiling languor. They happily dismantle their own barricades. A human officer in old imperial regalia walks among them, and they bow, not in fear, but with what looks like profound, blissful gratitude. Psychoempathetic resonance, the echo says, the term clinical cold, a frequency broadcast from orbital satellites. It didn't suppress their will, it rewired their reward pathways. To obey was to feel euphoria. To question was to feel a profound, existential sadness. We called it the harmony. Kaelen stares, sickened. This isn't conquest, it's curation. You turn them into happy slaves. We saved the Empire from fragmentation. We saved them from themselves. The cost was their anger, their ambition. Was that too high a price for eternal peace? A new alert flashes on Kaelen's terminal, not a sweep, but a direct missive. Security flag, unauthorized data access. Report for debriefing. The sender is Commander Vex. They've traced his query. He slams the terminal off, but it's too late. Across the concourse, 2 security officers turn, their eyes locking on his alcove. He runs. The echo guides him into the service arteries of the archive, a labyrinth of dripping pipes and flickering lumo panels. This is the building's skeleton, forgotten and raw. He can hear the methodical bootsteps echoing in the corridors behind him. They're not rushing, they're closing a net. He rounds a corner and collides with a solid figure. Commander Vex stands before him, not in pursuit but waiting. The man's face is granite, but his eyes hold a strange, weary knowledge. The Terra Prime Core, Clark, hand it over. It's not a relic, it's a quarantine. Kaelen backs against a cold wall. You know what it is. I know it's a cancer, Vex says, his voice low. I know people who dig it up get sick. Minds break, histories unravel. He extends a hand. Give it to me and your re-education will be gentle. You can forget this ever happened. The echo screams a warning in Kaelen's ear. He lies, he knows more. Look at his ident tag, the serial prefix, it's Viridian. Kaelen's eyes dart to the small hollow badge on Vex's chest. The code is standard Imperial, but the root glyph is one he just saw in the ancient logs. Viridia, a descendant of the first pacified world. Vex's expression fractures for a millisecond. He sees Kaelen's recognition. The weary knowledge in his eyes floods with something older, grief. You think you want the truth? Vex snarls, his composure cracking. My great-grandmother sang lullabies about the kindly voices from the sky. She died smiling, empty as a husk. We were the first. We remember in our bones. We remember the hollow where our fire used to be. This is no longer just a chase. It's a confrontation with a victim. The pattern of the mystery shatters and reassembles. Imperial security isn't just covering up a crime. They are its living, traumatized offspring, tasked with guarding the weapon that neutered their ancestors. The harmony, Kaelen breathes. It's still here, isn't it? The system. It's what keeps the peace. Vex doesn't deny it. It's a gentle blanket over the galaxy. And Earth is the generator, the source. That's why it's forbidden. Not because we're ashamed of what humanity did, but because the machine is still running and someone has to make sure no one ever tries to turn up the volume again. The silence in the service corridor is absolute, broken only by the drip of condensation and the ragged sound of Kaelen's breath. Commander Vex's confession hangs between them, a truth more poisonous than any lie. The Empire's peace is a broadcast. Earth is the transmitter. Vex's hand is still extended, but it trembles slightly. The core Kaelen, it's not just a record, it's a key. It contains the old Imperial command protocols. In the wrong hands, it could be used to adjust the harmony, to make it louder, to make compliance not just content but rapture. Is that the throne you want to reclaim? The echo's voice is a desperate scrape in Kaelen's implant. He fears what we represent, not what we did. He is a product of the system, designed to protect his own cage. The control nexus is not on Earth. Earth is silent, quarantined. The active emitter is here, buried in the old palace foundations beneath this very archive. I can show you. You can see the machinery of your inheritance. Kaelen looks from Vex's grief-hardened face to the warm, guilty light at his chest. He is holding the trigger to a galaxy's soul. And if I see it, what then? Then you choose, the echo says, to be a shepherd like him, or to be a king who remembers what kings must sometimes do. Vex sees the decision in Kaelen's eyes. He moves not for his weapon but for a small device on his belt, a neural dampener. I'm sorry, Vex says, and it sounds genuine. Kaelen doesn't think. He throws himself sideways into a narrow maintenance shaft the echo highlights on his retinal display. The dampener's pulse washes over his back, a wave of static that blanks his thoughts for a terrifying second. He tumbles down a steep incline, the core clattering ahead of him, his world a blur of pain and momentum. He lands in a chamber so ancient the air tastes of ozone and dust. The sterile gleam of the Xylos archive is gone. Here, the walls are carved from a dark, volcanic stone, hung with crystalline growths that pulse with a faint, sickly light. This is the bones of the first Imperial Palace, built by human hands, and in the center of the chamber, it waits. It is not a machine in any sense he understands. It is a sculpture of intertwined organic and metallic fibers, rising from the floor like a petrified tree, its branches fanning out into the rock above. At its heart glows a sphere of shifting, opalescent light. A low, subaudible hum vibrates in his teeth. This is the source, the harmony. The echo manifests fully beside him, more solid here, its regalia flickering with reflected light from the sphere. The loom of unity, it whispers, reverence and shame warring in its tone. From here my predecessors wove contentment across the stars. They saved civilization from its own destructive heart. Kaelen approaches, mesmerized and repulsed. The light seems to promise an end to all fear, all doubt. He wants to step into it. The urge is instinctual, terrifying. Boots scrape on stone behind him. Vex stands at the entrance, dampener in hand, but he doesn't raise it. He stares at the loom, his face a mask of raw, haunted recognition. So it's real, he breathes. The stories in the blood are real. You feel it, don't you? The echo says, turning to Vex. The call of the kindly voices. It is your cradle song. It is the reason your people never rebel, why the thought of violence feels like a physical illness. It is not your nature, it is your programming. Vex stumbles forward a step, not in attack but in a trance. Tears cut clean lines through the dust on his cheeks. Make it stop, he begs, the ruthless commander gone, leaving only a wounded child. Just for a moment, let me feel what my ancestors felt, let me feel anger. This is the pattern interrupt. The hunter is broken by the truth of his own leash. The echo looks to Kaelen. The core, insert it into the base node. It will give you 3 options. You can amplify the signal, restoring humanity's direct control. You can shut it down permanently, severing the weave. Or you can broadcast the full, unedited history, what we did, how we did it, to every citizen in the Empire on every frequency. The weight of the choice crushes Kaelen. Amplify means tyranny wrapped in bliss. Shut down means a galaxy of traumatized species waking from a 1,000-year dream with no idea why, likely tearing itself apart. Expose the truth means chaos, but maybe, just maybe, a chance for real healing. Vex is on his knees now, weeping silently before the glowing sphere. Kaelen kneels beside the base of the loom. There is a port, shaped like the data core. His hands are steady as he brings the warm crystal to the cold, waiting socket. He hesitates. The core slides home with a soft, final click. The loom of unity shudders. The opalescent light at its heart flares, then fractures into 3 distinct, hovering symbols above the sphere. An ascending waveform, a broken circle, a bursting star. Amplify, destroy, expose. The echo's form solidifies, its ancient eyes reflecting the terrible menu. Choose, rule with a gentle hand, unmake the peace, or let the galaxy judge its shepherds. Kaelen's mind races. Amplify is slavery with a smile, his people restored as benevolent jailers. Destroy is an act of mercy that could trigger 1,000 Viridias waking into madness. Expose is justice and a guaranteed civil war. Vex staggers to his feet, his face streaked with tears but his eyes clear, focused on the bursting star symbol. Do it, he rasps. Broadcast it all. Let them know what was done to us. Let the pain be real. It's the only way the healing can ever start. The chaos will consume billions, the echo warns, its voice cold. You will be the architect of a new dark age. Is that worse than this? Vex sweeps a hand at the humming loom. This silent, smiling dark age. Kaelen looks at the broken circle. The off switch, it's the cleanest choice. It ends the manipulation. It passes the burden of what comes next to every individual, finally free to feel their own rage, their own joy, their own messy, authentic lives. It is not a king's choice. It is a citizen's choice. It is renunciation. His hand moves. He reaches not for the star, not for the waveform, but for the broken circle. He slams his palm against it. The echo screams, a sound of pure data loss agony. No, you coward, you had a throne. The loom's light turns a violent, warning red. The hum rises to a piercing whine. Cracks spiderweb up the petrified tree structure. Vex stares, a wild hope battling fear on his face. But the echo isn't finished. As its form begins to dissolve into frantic motes of light, it makes one last, desperate play. It isn't a king anymore, it's a spiteful ghost. With the last of its energy, it doesn't attack the system. It hijacks the public archive's emergency broadcast band, using the loom's dying power as a surge. A final, ghostly projection of the last Emperor flickers into being above the crumbling nexus, its voice echoing not just in the chamber, but transmitted across the entire core network. People of the Empire, the echo intones, its image glitching. You were told you evolved into peace. You were told your history was a slow climb from chaos. This is the truth. You were kings. You built this galaxy. And then to keep it, you forged a weapon that made your subjects love their chains. Your leaders chose to bury the weapon and forget they were kings. Today, a descendant of your victims and a child of your blood chose to break the weapon, but not to reclaim the throne. They chose to be shepherds of nothing. Was it mercy, or was it the final, greatest cowardice of a species that forgot how to rule? The message ends, the echo vanishes. The loom of unity shatters with a sound like a dying star, plunging the chamber into darkness save for the emergency strips along the floor. Silence, then a distant, rising murmur from the world above, a confused, chaotic sound. No screams of rage, not yet, just a billion voices asking the same question at once. In the dark, Vex finds Kaelen's shoulder. His grip is firm, not hostile. It's done, he says, his voice hollow. The blanket is gone, now they feel the cold. What will they do? Kaelen whispers. What everyone does when they wake from a dream, Vex says, turning toward the exit. They will be disoriented, they will be angry, some will seek the dream again, others will try to burn the bed. Our job now isn't to guide them, it's to stop the ones who try to rebuild the loom. He offers a hand to pull Kaelen up. They are not friends, they are accomplices to a galactic patricide. Together they climb out of the ruins of the old world, toward the uncertain dawn of a new one. The mystery is solved, the weapon is broken, but the only truth that matters now is the one being written in the hearts of a trillion newly freed souls, trembling on the edge of their own unknown future. The final message of the echo loops in the public archives, a ghost in the machine with no off switch, its question hanging in the air of every home, every ship, every mind finally free to wonder, were we better off as happy prisoners, or are we brave enough to be free? So what do you think Kaelen should have done with the truth? Would you have buried it, weaponized it, or set it free? Let me know your take in the comments. The silence in the ancient chamber is absolute, broken only by the faint drip of water on stone and the ragged sound of Kaelen's own breathing. The loom is dead, the echo is gone, the weight of what they've done presses down on him, a physical force. Above, through kilometers of rock and steel, a galaxy is waking up. Vex's hand on his shoulder is the only anchor. We need to move, the commander says, his voice stripped of its former authority, now just grim and urgent. The broadcast is out. The security apparatus won't be trying to contain a secret anymore. It will be trying to contain a panic, and we are the closest targets. They scramble up the maintenance shaft, leaving the shattered nexus behind. The sterile corridors of the upper archive are no longer a place of quiet order. Alarms blare, not security alerts, but civil emergency tones Kaelen has never heard. Panicked voices spill from open doorways. A cluster of scholars from 3 different species are arguing violently, their usual placid demeanors shattered. One is weeping, another is shouting about lies. This is the disorientation Vex predicted. The cold, first touch of freedom. They are nearly to a secondary transport hub when a squad of Imperial peacekeepers rounds the corner. Their movements are jerky, uncoordinated. The harmony that smoothed their coordination is gone, leaving only confused individuals in armor. Their commander, a halting Tark, raises a weapon, but his voice is uncertain. Halt, by order of the, you are to be detained for destabilization. Vex doesn't reach for his own weapon. He steps forward, showing his empty hands. The destabilization has already happened, Captain. The signal is gone. You feel it, don't you? The noise in your head, the anger, the fear, that's what's real now. The Tark captain hesitates, the barrel of his rifle dipping slightly. His compound eyes seem to swim with confusion. The broadcast, the human ghost, it said we were slaves. We were, Vex says, his voice carrying a lifetime of buried pain. Now we have to decide what we are. You can shoot the messengers, or you can help us stop the people who will try to turn the signal back on. The logical twist isn't in the past, it's in the present. The threat isn't humanity returning to rule. It's the desperate, terrified factions within the Empire itself. Species and individuals who will find the void of free will too terrifying, who will seek to rebuild the cage for themselves, to become the new shepherds of a broken flock. The Echo's final question wasn't rhetorical. It was a weaponized seed of doubt, and it will grow in the fertile soil of fear. The peacekeeper captain lowers his weapon fully. He doesn't join them. He just turns and walks away, his squad dissolving behind him, each member going their own separate way for the first time in their lives. Kaelen and Vex make it to a small, fast courier ship in a private dock Vex commandeers with his old codes. As they break orbit from the archive world, the planetary comnet is a storm of chaos. There are reports of riots on Viridia, not violent uprisings, but vast, mournful gatherings where people are simply crying, feeling generations of suppressed grief all at once. On other worlds, isolationist factions are declaring immediate secession. On others, hardline imperial loyalists are declaring martial law, blaming a human terrorist plot. The central mystery is answered, and the answer is worse than conquest. Humanity didn't fall to a rival. It committed the ultimate paternalistic sin. It loved its creation so much it removed its capacity for pain, and in doing so removed its soul. The galaxy erased Earth not out of hatred, but out of a shared, shameful trauma, an agreement between the pacified and the pacifiers to never speak of the original wound. Vex pilots the ship toward the fringe in silence for a long time. Finally, he speaks. "We didn't plan for this part. How do you build a justice system for a crime that erased its own evidence? How do you hold a species accountable when that species voluntarily mind-wiped themselves into ignorance?" Kaelen stares at the starfield. "We don't," he says, the realization settling on him. "The Echo asked if we were shepherds or kings. We chose neither. We chose to be gardeners. We pulled up the poisonous weed. Now we have to tend the soil and see what grows. It will be messy. It will be painful. It might fail. And if they come for us, the ones who want someone to blame," Vex asks. "Then we show them the truth," Kaelen says, tapping the ship's data core where a complete copy of the Terra Prime records is stored. Not as a weapon, not as a broadcast, but one person, one world at a time. A choice to see the scar so they can finally begin to heal it. The resolution is not victory. It is responsibility without authority. They are not heroes of a new age. The comnet is a screaming infant. Every channel bleeds panic, grief, or furious, fragmented dogma. Kaelen watches from the courier ship's cockpit as the data streams flow. Viridia has declared itself a sovereign mourning state. The Tark Collective is mobilizing its fleet, not for the Empire, but to secure its own borders against the coming human reckoning. On a dozen core worlds, Imperial loyalists are rounding up anyone with Terran ancestry. The harmony is gone, and the silence it left behind is being filled with the oldest, darkest sounds in the galaxy: fear and the need to blame. Vex plots a course through the chaos, his jaw tight. They're looking for a villain, a simple story. The broadcast gave them two, the ancient human tyrants, and us, the ones who broke the world. "We have to get to the Council," Kaelen says, though the words feel hollow. "The Galactic Council, the serene governing body that has overseen the peace for centuries. What are they now, without the underlying hum that ensured their agreement?" "The Council is a ghost ship," Vex replies, not looking up from the nav console. "Half have already fled to their home systems. The other half are broadcasting pleas for calm that nobody is listening to. The center cannot hold because there never was a real center, only the signal." The ship shudders as a proximity alarm blares. On the scanner, 3 sleek interceptors drop out of warp, their ident tags flashing not Imperial Security, but a private militia sigil, the mark of a hypercorporation from a species that thrived under the Harmony's predictable markets. Their demand crackles over the comm. "Surrender the fugitives and the Terra Prime data core. Your actions have destabilized galactic commerce. Order must be restored." They're not true believers, they're opportunists, the first of the new shepherds, seeing a flock ripe for herding. Vex throws the ship into a violent, evasive pattern, but the courier is outgunned. A grazer beam shears off a stabilizer fin. The cockpit fills with the smell of burning circuits and panic. This is the climax, not a battle for a throne, but a scramble for the ruins. Kaelen clutches the datacore copy. He sees the 3 choices the loom offered, mirrored in the galaxy outside. Amplify, let these corporatists or the loyalists build a new, cruder control. Destroy, let the chaos burn itself out into 1,000 warring fragments. Expose, he already did that, and it only gave the chaos a shape. The central mystery's full, horrific answer isn't just what humanity did. It's why the galaxy collaborated in the lie. It wasn't just to contain humanity's shame. It was because every species in the Empire, deep down, was terrified of what they might be without the gentle blanket. They were complicit in their own pacification. Erasing Earth was a collective act of therapy by forgetting, a galaxy agreeing to never, ever look at the ugly scar. The terrible thing humanity did was offer a paradise without pain, and the terrible thing the galaxy did was accept it. A missile-locked tone screams through the cockpit. Vex is out of maneuvers. He looks at Kaelen, not with fear but with a grim question. "What now, Gardener?" Kaelen doesn't reach for the weapons console. He opens a wideband, unencrypted channel. He holds up the data core, ensuring the visual feed captures it. His voice is raw but steady. "You want order, you want someone to blame. Here it is, the unedited, complete history. The technical schematics of the Harmony, the logs of the pacification, the coordinates of Earth's quarantine field. We are not broadcasting it. We are not hiding it. We are giving it to you, all of you. He plugs the core into the ship's transmitter and initiates a data burst protocol, not a broadcast, but a peer-to-peer handshake. He sends it directly to the 3 attacking interceptors. Then he sets the transmission to repeat, an open beacon, offering the file to any ship that pings them. The truth is not a weapon if everyone holds it, Kaelen says, staring into the feed. It's just a mirror. Look at it, see what was done to you, see what you gave up, and then decide, each of you, what you build next. But you don't get to rebuild the cage. The blueprint is in your hands now. If you try, everyone will know what you're doing. The logical twist is absolute. He weaponizes transparency. He makes the ultimate power, the power to control, impossible to wield in secret ever again. The missile lock tone dies. The corporate interceptors hang in space, motionless. They have the data, so does everyone in range. The secret is now a common tool, a shared burden. You cannot rule with a truth everyone can see. One by one, the interceptors break off and warp away, presumably to analyze their prize, to plot, to fear. The immediate threat is over, replaced by a vast, uncertain future. Vex lets out a long, slow breath.